Evening freaks. I'm here to give you a read straight from the hip with lots of lip and to dive into the new moon energy that's in Capricorn that is kicking off a new lunar cycle for us and will greatly influence how we move into the new year, what energy we bring into 2023. And with this particular lunar cycle, it's really important that we start out 2023 on a strong foot. We're going to be put to the test, okay? We're going to be put to the test with this lunar cycle. We're being tested on our character. We're being tested on what we do when no one's looking. We're being tested on our desire, you know? How bad do we want it? How much is it in alignment with our integrity, and that energy at the core of who we are that is driving us forward toward this thing. What we're really looking for at this point is the points of alignment, not division. And a lot of this is going to come through in communication, and we got a lot of supportive energy for that. This is a reading for the collective. So all signs come into play. I will call out the signs. I am going to begin by first just sort of talking about the astrology while I shuffle the cards with you all. And you know how it goes with me when I'm shuffling. I'll give a peek now and then at the cards and see what's coming in, how it's matching up to what I'm talking about. I will provide timestamps, okay, when we get to the end of this airing. This is a pre-record, all right? This is a pre-record. I'm kind of just hunkering down for that storm we're going through here just outside of Detroit and feeling all cozy and yeah, I just feel like being more internal as most of us do at this time of year. We just had that winter solstice, so now the light is starting to build in our lives. So really beautiful, positive energy building. But we got some interesting things in play with this new moon. Okay. Um, when we're looking at this new moon, we're looking at a square to Jupiter. Okay. And squares are challenging. Okay. They bring up things that we need to look at. They bring up areas of blockage. Usually there's some challenge posed. There might be some challenges you're facing, like I was saying, in regard to um, your desires, how those conflict with what you know to be true, your character. There may be desires to uh, live in excess, okay? Live in excess. This piece coming up. When we got a square to Jupiter, we have to look at the shadow side of Jupiter that's coming forward in this cycle. And this cycle is really going to be with us for most of January. So most of that, launch into the new year. We'll feel the influence of this new moon's energy up until the 21st when we'll have a new moon in Aquarius, okay? And I know Aquarius is an air sign, but it is the water bearer. And there's this piece coming in about what we're laying the foundation of, the ground we're preparing now. Whatever we plant there, it's really significant at this time because that Aquarian energy is going to come in and just pour on, all that nourishing water that will support the growth of what we set now. So make sure you're moving forward with the lessons that you've been learning all this past year in Scorpio, energy, in that deep dive with Pluto. You've done so much shadow integration at this point. You've had the opportunity to, at the very least. So now it's really about testing. Did you learn? Did you really learn what you were supposed to learn, or do you need to go for another round on the karmic wheel? All right. When we got that Jupiter energy aspected in a challenging way, okay, because normally we think of Jupiter as like, oh, good Jupiter, good luck, it's going to bring all kinds of blessings into my life, so much reward, finally we get the sweet spot, after we've been drinking some bitter tea, okay? And yes, those things are all in the mix, and you can take advantage of that, but there are going to be challenges too. So Saturn and the way Saturn, Capricorn's ruler, is coming into play in this lunar cycle is very significant, which means we will be tested. And are we going to pass the test? So this is all about how you move your intention. Is it in alignment with your integrity? Is it in alignment with your character? Is it in alignment with your desires? Do you feel the pull? Do you feel that, fuck yes, I need to head in this direction, connect with this person, take this risk, do this thing? This is so important. We do have Mercury going retrograde in Capricorn, and that is coming up on the 29th. Okay, so we're in pre-shadow right now. There are some challenges regarding communication, but there's a lot more bless up energy on offer, and we'll talk about that, the bless up energy that's on offer. What's unique about this Mercury retrograde, though, is it actually has a pretty beneficial influence if you know how to work with it the right way. Okay, do expect the usual stuff to be in the mix, as far as technological difficulties, communication challenges, delays, but these are all associated with laying down the proper foundation. Okay, so where there's static, it's like it's a good thing. Oh, did you see that fly? I hope that caught on camera. It flew right over to this candle that I have lit here for Virgin de Guadalupe. Okay, so Virgin de Guadalupe is like holding it down for the collective. I lit this on behalf of the collective for just calling in the support that's needed, to make the right choices, to make the right moves, to open up, to receive, to soften. So often people think about what's missing or what's lacking in their life, but part of the problem is they're too closed off because they've been through some difficult times. They've gone through some struggles, then they've lost their faith, which is another area where we're going to be really challenged in this lunar cycle. We're going to be challenged in the areas of faith, and in particular, spiritual faith, and for those of you where, there's this piece of you don't feel a connection spiritually, we're talking about at its core essence, faith in yourself, right? Faith in yourself. So there's this piece about remembering times you had to gather your strength or make difficult choices in the past and you rose to that challenge, right? You can rise to that challenge again. There's a lot of positive support, but it's very interesting. This card flew out of the deck as I was talking about that, and we got the 8 of Swords. Okay, so I'm taking this as a positive sign that it went right to Virgin de Guadalupe there. I think she's shining some light on the need for us to realize that we're the ones keeping ourselves trapped. Okay, and this is something you're going to have illuminated for you as you move further into this light during this particular lunar cycle. And that light is building, it's expanding now. We got through the darkest point of the year. We got through the darkest point of the cycle. We moved out of that Pluto energy, okay? We got a lot of positivity building, but everybody's kind of moving tentatively out of the old cycle because of the challenges and because of all the deep work. But a lot of this is like self-imposed restriction, limitation, Some of you are really scared to step into the potential of your vision, your dream, how you would like to move forward. And you're kind of holding yourselves back. You're listening too much to the thoughts of others around you who maybe don't believe in what you're doing. I'm getting witch vibes here, with the way she's tied up. I'm getting witch vibes, like maybe there's some people who don't understand your path, don't understand the choices you want to make. Maybe you're really bucking the norm, so to speak, but who wants normal, man? Who wants normal, man? It was 10 on the clock when I said that, it's like, no, we want the new way. The old way doesn't work. Some of you are really bucking tradition. You're breaking away from the ideas, the expectations, the desires of others, and you're starting to want to take this risk to step into yourself fully, your truth, and living that in all areas of your life. But there's a fear, a fear of your ability to withstand what will happen as a result of you having that kind of faith, that kind of trust in yourself. I feel like these eyes are going to start to loosen. You're going to start to have the willingness to take off that blindfold, to look at things as they are, to admit the truth to yourself that I've been free all along. I've never been imprisoned except in my own mind and the stories I told myself that kept me acting out the same old patterns over and over again. Some of this is like, old dynamics that you've had in your family, in relationships, in particular, front and center relationships, so strongly, because all over the past year, we've had this like dance between Venus and Mars. Okay. So really interesting energy. And that's only going to continue to build because right now we do have the nodes. We have the North node moving into that destiny of Taurus. Okay. South node Scorpio, what we're rising out of, the karmic work we had to do. And that's going to find its full fulfillment of its cycle in July of 2023, at which time those nodes change. And the North node, the destiny, becomes Aries. And the South node, the karma, the work to be done, is pretty significant in Libra. Okay, so we've had this oppositional energy going all over this past year. It's been so front and center, this dance between those oppositional energies. It's been very much a theme of love and war. And I want you to think of that, yes, on a grand scale, right? What's happening in the planet, the pull and the push, between unity and division. And that same struggle we find within ourselves, the places where we move into that energy of love and expansion and openness, which also allows us to receive. So if you notice that your path is blocked, put some attention on this in this cycle. If you notice that your path is blocked and you seem like you can't find a way forward, things are just in this place of gridlock, and you feel like you need a serious road opener, look for the places, identify the places within yourself where you're somehow at war, where you're in that space of contraction, where you're not trusting your experience, because there's going to be a lot illuminated in that regard. A lot's going to come forward with that. This particular Mercury retrograde is very beneficial for going over old ground that's coming in on the 29th. That Mercury retrograde is very unique in that it starts in Capricorn and it ends in Capricorn on the 18th of January, 2023. So this is an opportunity to go over old ground, look at choices that have been made, paths that have been chosen, and start to think about the foundation you want to lay for yourself moving forward. Oh, wow. These cards flipped up, right? Okay, so we got the Three of Wands. That's all about looking forward to the horizon on what you want to see come into your life. What? What's going on? You need to go potty? Okay, Ted's going to brave the storm. One moment here. All right, Ted. Come on. Okay, go ahead, honey. Just brave it. It's okay, Ted. Oops, come here. Oh my goodness, Teddy. Hold on. Here, we gotta get this off of you. Ted's got a coat on right now. Ted, come here, babe. Okay. Okay. All right, go ahead, baby. Hurry and run out there. Come on. Hurry and run out there. The weather is kind of intense right now, so I had Ted in a hoodie to keep him warm, and he needs to take a break. So you might need to take a little break, you might need to take a little break. Maybe you've been doing a lot of that. Maybe you've been feeling the urge to just sort of nest right now, cuddle up, have some private time. You might not be feeling very festive this year. Here comes Ted. Come on, teddy bear. All right. Whew, you braved it. You braved the storm, Ted. You might be kind of having this kind of experience. Nothing happens in a reading by accident, I believe. I believe it all means something. So I think there's this piece that you feel a bit like you're coming in out of a storm. You might need to have more pockets during this time to just sort of be really gentle with yourself. You might have had kind of an intense year. There might have been a lot that's been coming up for you emotionally as you've been through this cycle with Aries and Chiron over the past year. And I'm kind of doing an astrological review here because I feel like it's very significant. It's really important to understand the foundation. That's what Capricorn brings to mind. And with this new moon, it's very important to understand our foundation. And that naturally involves looking back at where we came from, what's come before. It plays a major role in the foundation, right? So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be reflected on in this Mercury retrograde that has to do with looking back at the childhood, looking back at the experiences that happened over the past year, the way these experiences mirrored experiences we've been through in the past, our foundational experiences that brought forward our foundational challenges, those themes, those things we're always working through on the path, how we moved through it, how can we move through it better, how can we step into more places of empowerment, So this review is going to be very much in place, and it's going to be very much in place in the area of relationships too, very much front and center. And it's preparing us, really. It's preparing us for the new cycles of fate and destiny with those nodes that's going to come in July, when we got a need to really balance our karma. That's what we're leading up to. July, with that south node of Libra, it's going to be all about us moving out of our karmic lessons. We will have completed a certain level of work, and then it's all about discovering the balance. Do we put in the work necessary? We will be tested. Consider this like a sneak peek of that energy that will be coming in July of 2023. All right, when those nodes change, this particular Mercury retrograde is going to be like a little window view, a little view in the grid at that overall energy and how it's going to be affecting the collective. But we see this energy coming in. It's all about looking out toward the future. What do we want to see come in? How do we want to create this? With Saturn front and center, it requires that we remember the past and that we use it to inform our choices about how we can build it better. How can we lay a stronger foundation heading forward? What are the things we want to see come in now when we stand in that place of integrity within ourselves, when we really align our energy with our fuck yes, I want to head into this direction, okay? So this really coming in with this 3 of Wands, it also ensures that where we set our sights, we will see those ships come in. We will see things come to fruition. We will find success where we choose to put our focus, but it's going to require our work. We're going to have to invest ourselves in it. There's no wishy-washy. Saturn doesn't dig wishy-washy. Saturn doesn't dig this either or energy. This is why a lot of third-party dynamics in all areas of life, okay, are coming up for review, are coming up to be addressed, how there's a lot of karmic cleanup around this, because this energy is very much in play. It's kind of moving out of the time of options and more moving into an energy of focus. So you can really fuel your intentions with a lot of a lot of investment, and it's all about the investment you put in. It's so much about actually doing the work, like taking the steps, doing the practical, making it happen. You know, it's about the bottom line. And that starts with how much you're willing to work for it, put the energy into it, take the steps you need to take to make it happen. It's also about doing the inner work, spotting the areas where you need maybe some more bolstering, where you need to feel more secure in yourself, where you need to have a stronger foundation in place. Particularly, I would see like the work play balance, really developing some kind of routine that not only supports the output of work that will be required to make your visions come into being, but that also takes into account your need for rest. This is so, so essential. And it shows that there's a lot that's being laid right now. Right now, this work is just in its beginning stages, okay? But you're really going to see if you put in the investment in this particular lunar cycle, all right, leading up to the 21st of January, 2023, when we get that new moon in Aquarius, you're going to see what you've been investing in, what you've been pouring your energy into. That Aquarius energy will come in and open up some expansion. It will pour those waters of nourishment on there, and you'll really start to see some growth. What you start out with this 3 of Pentacles, okay, grows into the 8. That's quite a jump of growth, but it requires that you make some changes. The way you focus your energy on what you're calling into being. It's got like big magician energy to me. Big magician energy to me. Now would be a really good time for those of you on that path, those alchemists out there, to really do your workings about like calling in your vision, calling in what you want to create for yourself, and I definitely encourage working with that energy of Saturn, calling in your discipline, calling in your focus, calling in your clarity, calling in your strengthening of intuition so you can really lean into where you're being drawn at a soul level toward what you need to invest your energy in. Any kind of foundational workings like this, so solid, yeah, I feel like there's this big water energy coming in that's going to nurture everything. And we do have a full moon on January 6th, okay? And that full moon is going to be in Cancer, okay? So water energy, nurturing energy, big coming into the mother essence, that goddess essence, okay? Which is all about receiving. Virgin de Guadalupe energy, okay? It's about mama. It's about home. It's about ancestors. It's about the places that call us home, the places that just like resonate in our bones, that make our bones hum. You know what I'm talking about. And that's also, found in the earth, making contact with the earth and feeling the support of that, the connection of that, it can be an amazing tool for really feeding your visions, to also feed your connection to the earth, because it's the earth that sustains you, right? So I feel the supportive energy coming in with that full moon on January 6th. And these first 2 weeks of this lunar cycle, from here until that full moon in Cancer, would be an excellent time to really set your vision. So get clear, where you can. Create some pockets of time to sort of, have a look at where you want to shift some things, how you need to get better organization going on in your life. When we're looking at Saturn, where do you need more discipline? Where do you need to have more routine? Where do you need to have more structure? Where do you need to have more stability, more grounding? Put your focus there on how you can transform these areas to support what you're wanting to call into your life, and you'll really get the most bang out of this lunar cycle. It will be like such a foundational piece of moving into expansion in 2023. Very valuable. I also want to say there's a lot of good stuff coming up for healing yourself, healing addictions, okay, healing codependency. This has a lot to do with the different astrological elements in play. Just had a court card flip out when I was talking about that. Okay, so this might be coming up very strongly for fire sign collective. That's Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. All right. It's also about wielding your fire, bringing your fire forward. Maybe you've been dealing with a lot of the shadow aspect of the fire collective. Maybe you've been dealing with a lot of combativeness. Maybe there's been a lot of competitiveness in your environment. Maybe some angry words, people feeling frustrated, popping off. Maybe in some cases dealing with really big egos. And, that's the thing with the square Jupiter that's coming in with this new moon energy. We are looking at that shadow side of Jupiter, which is not just about all the goodies, all the good stuff. It's also about overindulgence, greed, taking more than you really need, selfishness, inflated ego, these pieces are something we need to be aware of. So when we're looking at that structure and routine, we look at the area of addiction, and when we look at overindulgence, this can be in alcohol, this can be in food, this can be in, even hookups, maybe you're dealing with sexual addiction. This piece coming in, ooh, got something just flew out there. Yeah, this might be coming up to transform. There might be like some disillusionment in matters of the heart, having difficulty really connecting on a heart level by keeping things sort of, really loose and light, with the Queen of Cups coming in with the Page of Cups. And this could be coming up strongly for water sign collective, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. All right. This is also about, trusting your gut. Maybe you've dealt with a lot of people like this, people that, we're kind of more in that player energy. People that just wanted to sort of like, share the wand, but they weren't really wanting to go deeper than that. You were wanting something more emotional. You might have been dealing with a lot of people who were kind of like emotionally manipulative, or you felt maybe emotionally immature. Like, I think this is stuff that you're going to be processing as you move through this lunar cycle, like looking back at some of these relationship dynamics. There's an opportunity though to really trust yourself. It's about learning how to trust yourself and trust your perceptions, and know when you're kind of signing on to something that doesn't feel right to you. So these are the areas where we're really going to feel this challenge to like step into that potential and the discipline that it requires, because there is a discipline in that, in understanding the areas where you kind of give in just because you want instant gratification in the moment, how that actually holds you back, how it causes problems, For some of you, there may be issues with, dealing with sort of inflated ego, where you're dealing with people where it's very much my way or the highway. I feel like this is coming in strongly with the Chariot energy here. Okay. And this is significant because numerologically, 2023 is a 7-year. Look, we got the 7 here. So it's all about how do we move forward? We got, the two sphinxes here, and the sphinxes are about secrets. It's also about what's hidden. And there's this answers are within energy, but to find the way forward, it's about finding the third way, It's not so polarized. have to look at the places where there's the connection, where things meet up. A lot of the moving forward that needs to happen and that we're coming into in 2023, really, it involves us connecting with like our path in a big way. And that means doing the inner work. That means, finding that place within us that can hold both the shadow and the light, that can understand both sides and how we find ourselves in the center of that. It's the unity point, the connection point. And we hit that a lot in the new year, all through communication. So in order to understand what needs to be communicated and the best way to move forward and to expand into this area, we have to have like a reversal of Mercury to take us back into the energy of the way communications, didn't sync up in the past, or where we moved into sort of polarized views that drove us in different directions. And how can we bring these energies back around the bend so they can get on the same page and find that way through to moving forward? Okay. So try to approach this in such a way as you're going over some old ground, and there will be some people, from the past starting to filter back into your sphere. There will be connections coming back around for healing, or in some places it's for closure, to close things off in a more respectful way. Maybe there wasn't respect the first time around, but now there's new insight after the experiences you've been through, and this changes for that. Mercury pre-shadow. I'm already tripping over words. I've already noticed it coming in, but throat chakra. Oh my gosh, there's a big need to clear the air, collective. Say those things that should have been said, that it's injustice if it's not said. Okay, like this piece is very important, especially as we're preparing to really root everything in 2023 in that opening, by stepping into that Taurus North Node, which is about understanding our worth, understanding what's valuable at the end of the day, what's priceless, what can you not put a price tag on, and really standing on that, and where things need to be redressed, where the balance needs to be redressed, like doing that work. And so much of it revolves around this. And when we're talking about the throat chakra, we're talking about Vishuddha. And Vishuddha is not just about communication. Vishuddha is also about your purpose. So please understand this. If you've been kind of like moving through so many challenges, you've been facing communication blockages, you can't find the words to say what you need to say, you're really feeling pressed in these areas, or you just seem to find nothing but like combative situations, or areas where the communication just goes cold, or people go ghost, there's just a complete disconnect, the cold treatment, This is so important to pay attention to what's been happening in your communication, because where you're feeling challenged and finding a way forward or linking up to your purpose, and it was 33:44 on the clock as I bring this in, what you need to do to move forward, the right choice for you, your path, that all involves you looking at how your communication has been playing out. It's a big key, okay? Because this is what is creating blockage in moving forward. For some of you, it's just as simple as speaking your truth, a truth that you've been holding, at least stepping into that truth with that Taurus North Node, knowing that your truth is valuable and that you can stand on it. You can step into that. It opens up so much. But what is coming through is really how we're going to see that karma play out when we enter the second half of 2023. All right. Now, this particular lunar cycle also has a few other things in play aside from that square in Jupiter. Just make sure with that square in Jupiter, you keep yourself in check. It's important for all of us to keep ourselves in check. Make sure we're not going into the ego, where we have room for everybody to have their truth, feel what they feel, and in given situations that you're trying to sort out messes that involve people communicating that might have a lot of challenges communicating because of what's gone down in their histories together. Okay, So important to stay out of the ego, though. Stay very much in a mindset where you're willing to create gaps in the communication for deep listening, as in taking what people have to say and then taking some space, taking some space for each of you to kind of like drop into that, drop into what came forward. This is the way forward in any kind of healing required. And there's so much support for it with the aspects going on. Tomorrow, we have Mercury sextile Neptune. Okay. So this is going to create a positive influence where we can start to really, through our self reflection, okay? So drop in with yourself, create some space to do some meditation or do some journaling. Keep a little pad of paper by your bedside. So if you wake up from a dream in the middle of the night, you can just jot down some impressions so you don't lose the memo. You know, there's going to be so much coming forward for you in your dream time that can really give you guidance in moving forward on your path. Your intuition will also be really strong at this time. So, pay attention to that. Pay attention to the synchronicities. This kind of stuff is going to be coming in. Notice that if you tap in, your ancestors' guidance will really come through for you. Just make the space for them to come in. Pour them a cup of coffee, have a chat with them to start your day. Ask them to speak to you through the day's experiences, to guide them on the path of wisdom. Not only that, but, you can ask for guidance from nature itself. Step out in the world, go for your walks, watch what shows up on your path. There's going to be so much communication coming in from spirit. And with us moving into that 7 energy in 2023, it is a year about the spiritual path. It's about discovering your connection to source, whatever that looks like for you. And so there's this real need at this time when faith can be tested to reach out for that connection, whatever that looks like for you. For some of you, this may be just like connecting to your higher consciousness. You may not have any particular spiritual views as defined by, traditionalists, okay? And that's cool, whatever it is for you. Your Atman, your higher consciousness, your higher awareness, to just be able to tap into that energy and let the guidance funnel through. It's really going to be a directing force, okay? So, and a lot will come up that will show you anything that remains to be addressed or remains to be healed going on the subconscious level. So this is a time when you may spot areas like, ooh, I got a bit of imbalance in this area. Going back to that original piece about this sort of excess energy that can be the shadow side of that square Jupiter. You might notice like you turn to food for emotional comfort, or you eat more than you need. You eat to the point of being stuffed. It would be a good time to look at the like subconscious aspects of that. What is driving you? Get curious about it. Create curiosity around it instead of judgment. Like understand what is the theme, what is the thing that sort of sparks this behavior in you, whether it's to overindulge in food or whether it's to overindulge in drinking, or hitting the herb, whatever it may be for you. If you feel like you got a behavior that's kind of going into a place that's being out of balance, it's a really good time to just like hold the space and look at that, because you'll be able to understand your subconscious motivations more. You'll be able to understand the emotional aspects to it more. What's driving you? 3939 on the clock as 336. Okay. Breaking it down numerologically. This is what helps align you with your purpose. What's kind of in the way of you really stepping into your purpose. Those shadow aspects that are kind of holding you back. So there's a lot of healing that can come in these areas. Very, very positive, right? So look for that communication from your soul, the communication from spirit, the communication from your intuition, from your higher consciousness to start to really come through in this cycle. And you're going to have that retro energy to really sit with this, go over old ground. It's powerful alchemical support, man, to transform the shadow into light, to find out how the light got through those wounds. So powerful. Okay. A lot of illumination energy coming in and the support for it. But then on the 28th, we got Venus sextile Neptune. Okay. And then on the 29th, when we got the Mercury going retrograde in Capricorn, we got Mercury conjunct Venus. Okay. This is powerful. This is powerful. Sextile and this Mercury conjunct Venus are positive aspects. Okay. This is really going to help us with more of that balancing out that energy of the oppositional love war dynamic that's been going on over the past year that we talked about, okay, between Venus and Mars. So this gives us an opportunity with Venus sextile Neptune to see that sometimes we're our own worst enemies because we just anticipate that things are going to go wrong. We anticipate the worst. We live so much out of the shadows of our past that we project that on our futures. And because we expect things to go, to shit, we kind of show up in a way that, invites that outcome. All right. So it's really about realizing sort of the tricks we play on ourselves. And because of this, you get a surprise, something happens that proves you wrong, but in the best way possible, because things turned out better than you expected in matters of the heart. Okay. This can also be like love takes on a little bit of a dreamy quality as well. All right. Don't over romanticize the past and what happened. Do take your time to lay a proper foundation in any relationships that you're healing, where something not right happened in the past, and you're trying to recover the relationship or get on the same page with each other or come to some kind of agreement with one another. Don't forget what happened, all right? Don't just immediately get swept away into that Neptunian fantasy energy where you can put on the rose-colored glasses and get a little googly-eyed, okay, with the feel-good vibes, especially at the holidays when a lot of people feel lonely or bump up against these kind of challenges. Don't forget what you learned about not settling, moving through that Scorpio energy, because you're really going to have to not settle, and it will be tested. That's what's coming up for you. Are you going to settle, or are you going to stand on those lessons you learned? Please stand on what you've learned, right? Anything that's meant for the long haul will be willing to stick by you. Take the time to lay the right foundation. So again, remember, still got Mars retrograde through most of January 2023. So now is not the time for being impulsive, okay? So enjoy the vibes coming in, all right? Enjoy that sort of dreamy Neptunian quality. Enjoy the depths of it and the sort of magic it brings in. But at the same time, don't allow yourself to be put under a glamour. That being said, to use this energy in a positive way, for those of you who walk the weird way, it'd be a great time to do any kind of glamour spell work you want to do just for beautifying yourself. Some pampering rituals would be so excellent, just so you can step into 2023 shaking off all those cobwebs, feeling a little brand new, got your mojo working for you. Highly encourage it. Really positive energy for building that. And it allows you to bring some self-care into the mix too, which is so foundational. I think pampering is foundational. Miss Jackson knew what she was talking about. It's about the pleasure principle. And the pleasure principle is such a way through to connecting with your spirit as well, really connect. 44 on the clock. It's the foundation. It is the way through that opens the doors to manifestation. When you're feeling good, when you're in your element, when your energy's right, it comes out right. It just does. Things flow better. You get more of the sweet taste in life. So let pleasure form a strong foundation in how you move forward in 2023, okay? This coming in really strong. The other aspects that we have that kind of add a little bit of challenge into the mix is in the area of health, and that's with the fixed star, spiculum, and the asteroid Hygeia. Okay, something just dropped on the floor, so that always tells me there's something that needs to be paid attention to. It not only dropped on the floor, it went hiding. It tried to go into hiding, so this is significant here. Something to look at in the areas of health. Mental, emotional, physical health, okay? Oh, whew, we got the Emperor in reverse, okay? Emperor in reverse. So this is all about we got to let go of control. We got to let go with the flow, all right? Because we had that wand energy with the King of Wands show up on the board. I got to bring forward Aries collective here, okay, really strongly. But this is also about there's a need to step more into that goddess energy at this time, more into the Venusian energy, moving out of the Mars by stepping back from that need to take the initiative or to what's going on, Ted? You need to go potty again? Okay. Oh, isn't that funny? Like the blocking energy comes in. Okay. Oh my gosh, bottom of the deck. 7 of Wands. Oh, it doesn't get more literal than that. Okay, so where's the blockage? The blockage is around the heart, okay? There's a need to melt the resistance. This when you find yourself in this place of control, you know, where it's like my way or the highway, or where you're dealing with individuals like this, understand that what's really happening is they're blocking their heart from further hurt, all right? It doesn't mean it's right. It's difficult dealing with this kind of energy, right? It's difficult dealing with this kind of energy. If you're on the other side of the negotiating table with somebody in this combative kind of energy, it's difficult to remember that these actions are coming from a place of hurt. You know, this is somebody who's living out of the hurt of the past. Okay. So it's important to have some room, you know, have some room for compassion to enter the scene as you move through this lunar cycle. Let somebody in out of the cold, you know, if somebody's being cold, and this is somebody you're in a healing process with, it's important to sort of like show the way, all right, by being an example, all right, with this Page of Pentacles here, and to be willing to learn together too, and not feel like you have all the answers necessarily, all right? Remember, this can be you embodying this energy too, right? If you're a feminine, you could be embodying this energy. You could be wanting things to go your way. You could be adopting a more masculine stance, you know? There's a need to move more into the feminine, more into the place of receiving, more into the place of listening, you know, hearing people out, really letting their words sink in, not with a desire for you to get your words in edgewise. It's not about that. You're learning together, and you got to look at the places where you both are growing and growing in relationship. Because if you're trying to heal a relationship, this is a thing that's so essential. You have to remember. And I feel like this is what we're learning in this cycle. This is Capricorn energy here. Okay. So this is about learning how to communicate in a new way and laying the foundation of that, right? And allowing there to be time to listen without interjection and to sit with what is expressed and to hold the respectful space for it, not to feel like you have to control the dialogue, right? Not like you have to control the outcome, to just trust and move more into that feminine energy, which is the water, which is the flow, which is that Cancer full moon energy we're moving into on the 6th. Okay, it's about the nurturing. And there's also the need to really look at how this affects the health of our relationships, how this affects the health of our relationships, the way we interact with each other. Super important here. There's also this kind of piece about with that influence of the fixed star spiculum and the asteroid Hygeia, dealing with health, dealing with addictions, dealing with looking at alternative routes to healing, doing things a different way. If you've gone traditional routes, you might start looking at more holistic modalities. You might be looking more into things like herbal medicine. You might be looking into more alternative means of healing relationships, than you've approached before. You might look at going on some kind of, I just thought like yogic retreat, if you're dealing with a challenge in a relationship, or you might be willing to explore something in these connections that you weren't really willing to explore before. And this can have a very positive influence, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to have its challenges, right? And I think there's this piece that comes in about, understanding you're both beginners in this process, or if you're dealing with a group of people, all of you are beginners in this process because you haven't been able to work out this shit before. You're working it out now, So no big for your britches. Everybody come in, beginner's mind, willing to learn, willing to grow through the experience, okay? Not to think you have to have it all your way. It isn't gonna be your way entirely. It's about finding a new way, and you find that together. And look what comes in. Boom. 10 of Cups. This is fulfillments. Fulfillments? Fulfillments. Mary fulfillments. I think that's this energy that's building. It is, we're building our fulfillment is what we're stepping into. But fulfillment, happiness, togetherness, getting on the same page, having something to celebrate, the faith, right? The faith renewed, okay? Because you get to the other side of, your hopes and the things that the future promised for you, and you see the fulfillment. But it comes through things falling away first that actually aren't real, and that were built on false projections, letting these towers fall, which is what we got with that whole Pluto dance we did. That's what we got to the other side of in Scorpio season, okay? And we've been moving into that expansion now. This is the promise of this expansion on the other side of that tower, It's a time to drop down the burdens. It's a time to let go of the things that we don't need to carry anymore. And we do this by finding the balance within ourselves with that high priestess energy. Again, stepping into that feminine wisdom, the intuition, finding the way through. I love the polarities and that balancing point, how it's coming through. Remember, we are going to be preparing. We are going to be preparing the ground. As we get to that second half of 2023, we're going to be stepping into that place of karmic balance. When we're looking at that Libra South node to rise into that initiatory energy, the Ace of Wands that the magician wields, which is Aries, North node, okay? Very strong. It all starts now in the winter with the Ace of Swords. This is what we're bringing in, and it comes through what? Communication, okay? So this is really what's on deck for us. I want to get just one final cut of the deck energy here. Collective. Got the 5 of Swords, all right? 5 of Swords. On the opposite side there, what do we got? We got the 6 of Swords, all right? Yeah, we know you got done dirty. There's some people that did you wrong. Some lies were told. Where you were betrayed, and damn well where you betrayed yourself. But it's time to move on from that with the 6 of Swords. You got to let it go. You got to let go of the grudge. You got to let go of wanting to get even. You got to let go of wanting to see this person get theirs, or whatever it is you're nursing that's actually keeping you stuck right where you're at. You got to let it go, and don't take those swords with you as you move forward. Don't take those swords with you. Leave those behind. Do what you have to do to clear your mind by actually communicating, so these thoughts aren't rattling about in your head and you can clear the passageway forward toward the future. Because once you do that, you step into that growth. You step into that North Node Taurus. You step into that place of knowing your worth, knowing your value. And from there, all beautiful things, all new beginnings come to fruition in your life. You are the way through, Empress. This is beautiful energy, moving into your creativity, moving into your strength, sitting back on your throne, straightening your crown. Okay. This is also, through this quality, through doing this work, that's how the Emperor goes from reverse to the upright position. And this is how we find the way through to connection. A lot of soulmate energy coming in. I'm telling you, people are going to be connected with somebody significant on their path that is a very important part of growth in the future. And you're going to start to see this energy come in now. All right. But it begins by letting go of control, allowing your mind to be blown, listening to your intuition, moving more into that feminine energy, which is about being able to receive, opening up, listening, trusting, feeling your way through with the intuition. And this is what brings balance between Empress and Emperor. And this is how we heal ourselves whole. Beautiful energy for this new moon. Just remember, with that Emperor energy in reverse, it really mimics the Saturn influence with Capricorn and this cycle where we're going over old ground. You've got to look at the foundation. You've got to do the work. You need to be disciplined. And it's time to put some supportive structures in place. You do that, there's no stopping you in 2023.